Well, good morning and welcome to Ghana's most sought-after morning show. This is Good Morning Africa on Pan-African Television. You're watching us live from our studios 48 Swanika Street, Abiling, Accra. We also watched across 46 African countries, some parts of South America and Europe via satellite. Welcome to the newspaper review segment. Big thanks to Bless Gokwa Lomaso for holding us down on the newspaper headline segments with that interview. Now, here we are going to have all the in-depth conversations, the insightful analysis, and talk about some issues that have surfaced our newspapers. And there isn't much time. I would have taken you through the various headlines that our various newspapers have captured this morning, but my guests are seated, and so we will be commencing our conversation shortly. And you can be a part of the conversation by sending your messages, your submissions on the number that will be displayed on the screen. Please note that the number isn't for calls, but strictly text messages and WhatsApp message. Text messages and WhatsApp message. You're warmly welcome once again. I'll be sharing with you the topics that have been tabled for discussion this morning, and of course we're going to look at happenings within Africa, and today we're looking at South Africa. Now, xenophobia, poisoning allegation, and a growing anti-immigrant crisis in South Africa. We'll be talking about that. Also, military high command bans soldiers from polling stations on Saturday. That has been captured on the front page of the Herald newspaper. And special prosecutor launches probe into MP's food sharing incident. We'll be looking at that as well. So these are the topics that have been tabled for discussion this morning. You can be a part of it, and be reminded that we are live on Facebook and on YouTube, so you can keep your messages flowing on there as well. But without much ado, let me introduce my guest. This morning I've been joined by the able Miss Rodlin Ayana.
Good morning.
Good morning, Auntie Roro.
Good morning.
How's it going? I see you in your vote, Alan.
Yeah, we are finishing hard. I think everything is going well, and we can only hope for the best. So we are in the mood.
Yeah, I can see you're in the mood. But today you look very like me.
Yeah, I see that. Sometimes.
All right, so I've also been joined by Professor Benedict Ayarafusu-Mensah. Good morning, Prof.
Good morning. How are
I
you?
nearly said doctor, and I said no, snap out of it. Snap out of it. I would have killed you. Good morning, Prof. How's it going?
Oh, by God's grace.
How's preparation?
Finishing very, very, very hard. And I mean, Ghanaians are ready for change.
Yeah.
Yes, and the wind of change is blowing everywhere.
All right, thank you for coming. Now, be a part of our conversations by sending your messages to the WhatsApp number 0559919802, 0559919802. Our topics for discussion this morning has to do with xenophobia, poisoning allegation, and growing anti-immigrant crisis in South Africa. Also, military high command bans soldiers from all polling stations. On Saturday, special prosecutor launches probe into MP's food sharing incident. And these are the topics we'll be discussing. Now, let's head straight to our first topic this morning. And it has to do with happenings in South Africa. Let me just read a background of the story. It says that a storm of xenophobia is intensifying in South Africa, with spaza shops, small community-based convenience stores, at the center of a heated national debate. These shops, many owned by migrants from Somalia, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and India, have become targets of online and offline hostility, fueled by claims of food poisoning and broader anti-immigrant sentiment. A report by the Center for Analytics and Behavioral Change, titled Xenophobia, Spaza Shops and Allegations of Food Poisoning, outlines how digital platforms have become fertile ground for anti-corruption, anti-immigrant narratives. Now, the report examines how these sentiments surged across distinct periods in 2024, also culminating in widespread fear, misinformation, and calls for drastic government action. Now, there's a background to the story. I want to find out. I'll start with you, Auntie Rodlin. When we take a look at South Africa, they have been through the apartheid regime, and it is only fair to think that as suffering from such discrimination, isn't that supposed to make them more accommodative and more, sensitive to, other relations with other people from, around the world?
I guess so. Well, good morning to our viewers from across Ghana and the world, in the diaspora. And special good morning to the Alliance for Revolutionary Change and Movement for Change people, and to Alan Tremating, our presidential candidates. When I think of South Africa, I get confused. Like you said, people who came from apartheid, a people that the world stood still for. Virtually everywhere, everybody fought for their independence. At least that should stand for something. But these days, I don't get surprised at people who have been oppressed or, that kind of thing, behaving in the opposite way. I mean, if you look at Israel and Palestine, you'll find that it's the same story. So, South Africa is a different ballgame altogether. Yes, they have been oppressed. But the thing is this is a people that were closed to the world. They were just in South Africa. They don't know much about the other side of the world than South Africa. We must recognize the fact that it was a privilege to have an education. It was a privilege to even be able to study abroad. Most of them went under scholarships and things. If you were able to go as a refugee, you got educated. Now, if you look at where they've come from the poverty angle, the deprivation and all that, they are looking at foreigners as coming to take something that rightfully belongs to them. And that is where the anger is. Forgetting that, one, they probably don't have what it takes to do those kinds of jobs. Financially, they are not sound, most of them. When it comes to education, they probably don't have the qualifications, most of them. And so the exposure to is not there. For a very long time, I guess South Africans felt that they were the world, especially South African blacks. They felt that that was it, especially when they got independence. Some of them traveled out, and for the first time they realized that no, things have happened in other African countries. Some Africans are living like our white people, And so when you look at the way things are happening now, it's a disappointment of a government that they put in place, hoping for their lives to be bettered, and it hasn't happened. So if you look at the ordinary South African who stood by, waited all these years for Mandela to be released, to come and take them out of the poverty situation and the backwardness and the underdevelopment that they were experiencing. Remember that there are just about 8% white people there, but they were enjoying everything. So for them, getting independence based on majority rule, and therefore now having to be the people in charge of affairs, they expected that the leaders that they had chosen will then look after them, make their lives better. But till date, they still have squalor, they still have poverty, they still have unemployment. They are still almost like sitting at the same place. And for them, they don't understand. The only reason that they can give is that other people are enjoying what we are supposed to be enjoying. One, we are having teachers, doctors, professionals, basically, coming from all over the world, filling in gaps in South Africa. Because like I said, some of them don't have the qualifications. Also, we are having commercial activities coming in from these Somalian merchants, Indian merchants. It's the physical funding for those things they don't have. So when you imagine that you are a South African, you're living in Soweto or somewhere, and then you come and see a Somali or an Indian now coming, driving a beautiful car, living in a beautiful house, enjoying, him or herself. you start asking, why should this person come from somewhere and come and enjoy instead of me? And I think that is the anger that they are unleashing on us. So we would have thought that having been suppressed and chased out of their own places, they would have sympathy for other people, you know. But it's the other way. They are looking at it in a different view, that no, granted that you people helped us, but leave us to enjoy the little that we have. Don't come and take it from us. That's the whole thing. I don't think that is the real story. I just think that they were waiting to be spoon-fed. They've never really known how to go out there, create the jobs and stuff. Because let's face it, majority of them, as we read, were in the mines, no education and stuff. At least the male folk, the women sat at home. The few who were educated did not get the best of education, except for those who were able to go out of the country. So for the ordinary South African today, he or she is expecting that life should be better. Life should be nicer, sweeter and everything. But I think that it is these people who are creating this problem. Let's not take it too far away from here. When the Nigerians started coming here, some Ghanaians, you would hear some Ghanaians saying, when Nigerians come, accommodation becomes very expensive, because whatever price the landlord quotes, they have the muscle, they have the money, so they pay, and they sort of like crowd us out. The Chinese came, and when the Chinese came, our shops, you know, they were getting the shops in Makwala. You saw how we revolted. Everybody was angry. So it is always when you think that something that you feel is yours is being taken over by another group of people that you think did not contribute to whatever you went through, then you feel like, no, we have to do something. But this is wrong. Xenophobia is not a good thing, and to the extent of poisoning foods and stuff like that, you understand. But these are things that are glaring in Africa. I saw someone sent me a clip of you know, most people buy goods, and with all due respect to Pakistanis, but this was supposed to be a Pakistani shop where this young man was weeing on the vegetables, yes, that are being sold to people, and mostly in black areas. You get me? He was actually going there. The picture was just, you know, and I was like, what is it? What hates? How can you hate your fellow human being to that extent? You see, but those feelings are there, feelings of neglect from the leadership is what is creating this. And then you see a bunch of people living well. If you talk to South Africans, some of them, they say, look, our leaders, those that we thought would live for us, we see them living well, opulent lifestyles. Their children have been educated abroad. They are living like nothing. You understand? And we are still where we are. No water, no electricity, no good housing, no health care, nothing. And the diseases. It's funny, though, to think that some of the reasons they gave was that other nationals brought some form of diseases. And when we talk of diseases, they were the first people that people really thought had things like HIV and stuff like that, because of the kinds of things that were happening there. And for the rest of Africa, we've always been able, apart from those occasional things like Ebola and whatnot, our healthcare, though not so good, we're able to take care of our own. So I think that South Africans must sit up and then recognize the fact that it is not the foreigners that are creating the problems for them. They have to look inwardly amongst themselves and then see whether they can do something to help themselves, and also hold their leaders accountable. You see, you have to hold the leaders accountable. Don't vent your anger on foreigners who have come. And those foreigners, some of them are employing South Africans. They are helping in the building of South Africa. They are paying taxes and all that. So it means that it is not all doom. And when you talk of crime, there are criminals in South Africa. The criminals that they think are coming from other places. By all means, if you come to my house, if I don't show you the way to do certain things, you might not be able to do it. So it's always in connivance with the indigents of South Africa. So South Africa should just ask for accountability from their leadership. They should ask for more development from their leadership. And they should make sure that, you know, they give a lot of pressure on them to get these things done, instead of venting their anger on innocent people.
Thank you very much, Antiro. You're still watching Good Morning Africa here on Pan-African Television. We're having some interesting conversations here, and we're focusing today on our African story, xenophobia, poisoning allegation, and a growing anti-immigrant crisis in South Africa. I'll be bringing Professor Benedicta in shortly, but you are welcome to be a part of the conversation by sharing your submission or sending your submission to the number that will be displayed on the screen. I have one message coming in. It says, hosts, please help me in parliamentary records who is a majority and how it can be corrected. I think whichever points we get to should be the tangent on which we are all going in terms of the messages that you're sending. Thank you very much. But let me bring Prof in on the subject matter. Prof.
Good morning to our cherished viewers. Good morning, Auntie Rhoda.
Good morning.
To our host and to the NDC fraternity. Our president in waiting, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, I salute you this morning. And our First Lady, our Vice President, Professor Jane Achiaa, I salute you this morning. It's really sad about these xenophobia occurrence. This is not the first time. I think over the years we've heard about attacks of foreigners. The reason being that foreigners have taken their jobs. For me, I see it as an unfortunate situation because South African, we all know, have been people who have really gone through difficulties in trying to gain independence. We've seen how apartheid have kind of deprived a lot of them freedom of speech, freedom of movement. They've been suppressed. And so normally or ordinarily you would expect that people who have gone through some form of suppression would have sympathy, would show mercy to people, have some compassion on people. But that is not the case in this instance. But I also see it not just at the side of the people, but also on the side of the government. That is just an expression of a failed government. Why are the citizens, thinking that what belongs to them is being taken away by foreigners? It's probably because government haven't created enough opportunity for its citizens. And so the few opportunities that are there are taken up by foreigners. It could also mean that the rule of law is also probably not being enforced over there. For example, there are some, let's say, work, or there are some jobs that may be designated for foreigners and some jobs reserved for the indigenous. And so if the rules or the law governing the country are not being enforced, then you would have instances where foreigners engage in activities or jobs that are supposed to be reserved for the citizens. So this whole thing, I see it as a failed government, and this is not just peculiar to South Africa, but to the African continent. Sometimes when you sit and look at the resources that we have as a continent, and yet we are lacking so many things that would make life comfortable for us, it makes one to really wonder whether it's an issue of we not being able to really govern ourselves, we not being able to manage our own affairs, and probably need some people to come, and govern us. Because ordinarily, look at Africa, we have so much resources compared to certain country. A country like Sweden, don't have so much resources, and yet you go there, they are so developed. You go to other countries, they do not have natural resources compared to that of Africa, and yet they are developed. But those of us who have these resources here, we see foreigners, they come to our country, they take our resources, live good life, and yet we are impoverished. So this whole issue of xenophobic is not, I would say it's not just peculiar to South Africa, but even in Ghana. We've had instances where traders had to go on demonstration, they locked their shops because other foreigners have come and they have taken jobs that supposed to be for the citizens, or supposed to be for Ghanaians, and so it looks like the laws are being broken with impunity, and law enforcement agencies are not holding people accountable. And so when there is a failed in leadership, we see some of these things happening. Why are there not enough jobs in Africa? Well, I will not just limit it to South Africa, because here in Ghana it's happening. Why are people, moving out of, let's say, Ghana in search for greener pasture there? Now, when you go to Cape Town, for people maybe who haven't been to Cape Town before, I was just telling Auntie Rodeline before the show that it looks like Europe. And so when you go there, I heard somebody making a comment like, oh, the Western world having ruled South Africa for a while in some disguise was a blessing, because it has helped to develop the country than those of us who had independence earlier than them. And then you wonder whether for Africa, for the black man, we cannot take charge of ourselves. We cannot take charge of our affair and do or develop the country the way we want it to be. But you see, most of these things is as a result of greed. There seems to be so much greed, in the black. I don't know whether to say that in the African, because when you look at the resources in which, or the resources that we have, and yet we have only about 1% of the population controlling the resources, and 99% of the people are struggling. Then you ask yourself, are we okay? Is there something wrong with us as a people? And that is what's happening in South Africa. There are a few individuals who are well-to-do. There are a few individuals who are living well, and yet majority are suffering. Like she indicated, even education, that is supposed to be the right of everyone to be educated. You have people who do not have education, yet they want to be employed or given the opportunity to do jobs that are supposed to be for people who are educated. So, for example, you are a citizen and you are struggling, to survive, and you have foreigners coming, taking good jobs, living in good houses, living good life, and you ask yourself, how come you, who is a citizen, who is supposed to enjoy these things, you are not enjoying, and foreigners are enjoying this? But for me, I see it as a failed, leadership, or it's a sign of failed leadership, because as a leader or as a government, you're supposed to work in the interest of your citizens. You are supposed to provide the basic needs of your citizens, which is food, water, education. And if the people are educated, then there will be opportunity, to work in various institutions or various places. And if the people are not educated, then they will have to sit and watch foreigners come to take the good jobs that they have available. Then that will anger individuals. And so I will not just speak for South Africa, but it's also happening in Ghana. And it's just a sign of failed leadership. And I think that Africa as a continent, our leaders need to sit up, our leaders need to, work in the interest of the people and not in the interest of a few individuals. Most often they come and tell us that, yes, we are working, we want to work for you, we want to work for you. If you are an office holder, you are supposed to be a servant of the people, but it's always the other way around. When a minister is coming, you know, it's like all cars, whether there is road or not, give way. They are more important than us. Everybody get lost and allow the minister to move. Meanwhile, these are people who are supposed to be serving us. So the lifestyle of our leaders sometimes is enough to, you know, annoy people, and people, you know, are forced to take the law into their own hand because they feel that they have a right to certain to certain benefit, but they feel that the leaders have failed them, and so they are forced to take the law, which is also unfortunate because South Africans, I mean, we cannot say that all South Africans live in South Africa. They are South Africa, for example, living in Ghana. So if South Africans are attacking Ghanaians in South Africa, what happened to their citizens here in Ghana or other country? And so I think it's unfortunate, and I think that the government of South Africa should work hard to stop these patterns of attacks of foreigners, because that can also derail bilateral agreement and negotiation between countries and South Africa.
Yeah, I was going to ask a question on that, because you two in your submissions made mention of the fact that the government have failed, the leaders are not acting in the interest of the people, but can we blame it all on the leaders?
Leadership, by example. I mean, you see, like I always say, if, for example, we have President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo one day roll his sleeve, you know, he said, we are cleaning Accra. He goes into the gutters and start cleaning. Who are you, a minister, to say you will not get in there? And who are you, a citizen, to throw rubbish? You know, so sometimes as a leader, you need to move the people. You need to do something that will kind of instill fear into the people to violate or to break the law. But if our leaders do not care, or our leaders live lives that sometimes provoke people to the core, or the people feel pushed to the wall, they have no option than to push back. And for me, I see it as one of the reasons why we are having these in South Africa.
Right.
People feel that, well, they should enjoy certain things. They are not enjoying it. Foreigners are enjoying. Their leaders cannot be bothered. They are living a good life. When they say there's hunger, they do not understand. When they say price of fuel is high, they can't believe what you are saying. And so it's kind of, you know, annoying people. And like currently in Ghana here, when you say that there's hardship, people say, really? Really? And our leaders will come and say, look, there's a lot of food. The time when we said there was no food, we had our great minister coming to tell us that a bunch of plantain was going for 5 cedis, you know. So it looks like he was completely out of touch of reality. And some of these, you know, pronouncements and statements just annoying people.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that leadership, the buck actually stops with leadership. We should understand that the South Africans had high hopes, real hopes, that their situation will change for the better if they had a majority leader, and it came in the form of Nelson Mandela being released and he coming in. So after all these other Thabo Mbeki, Jacob Zuma, and now what's his name? Ramaphosa, and they're all there, and still they still feel like we still don't have what it takes. So what was the difference between when the whites were there and now? And you could even tell, if you want to know how they feel, just look at the just ended elections they had. You see that the ANC lost out to the extent that even a white-led party is now in collaboration with the ANC. It is just to tell you that they have lost hope in their own. And they are beginning to think that even these people, if let's take it that the 8% were treating us this way, and you've come, 81% of you, and look at how we're feeling. So we might as well bring back those people. You see, this is the feeling the South Africans are having now. So it is left to leadership to create that environment that will make them feel that yes, something is going to be done,
Absolutely.
you know, or something is being done to make us comfortable. So if Ramaphosa is there and still yet he didn't get all the votes, and somebody else from the other side comes in, then it means that there is a real problem. And to think that they were attacking Indians have stood by with them for all these years.
Yeah.
You understand, and stuff like that. So it means that there is more to it, and the leadership must sit up. It's something that is worrisome in Africa, that our leaders seek for our mandate, and once we give them the mandate, then they forget about us.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's quite unfortunate.
But we are still here on the newspaper review segment, and we are having very insightful conversations with regards to happenings in South Africa. But I've got some messages coming through. This one says, "Good morning, Ohemaa. I'm deeply disappointed in the special elections that took place yesterday. The NPP parliamentary candidates were openly giving voters goodies, which is essentially buying votes. If they win, they'll be called honorables, which is ironic considering their actions. It's shocking that nobody seems to be speaking out against this, except for the media. The incident at Ayawaso, where the member of parliament was distributing packed rice and possibly money to voters, is a clear example of vote buying. Is this really what our elections have been reduced to? Question mark. Where is the OSP? Our democracy seems to be failing under Kufuor and Bawumia's government, and it's even more concerning if we re-elect them. John Dramani Mahama is a presidential candidate for the National Democratic Congress, and he has proven a track record of leadership and a vision for a better Ghana. I'm appealing to all meaningful Ghanaians to vote for JDM and the NDC on December 7 for transparent governance, development, peace, and corruption-free society. As JDM said in his manifesto launch, we need a government that will galvanize all efforts of all Ghanaians, regardless regardless of ethnicity, religion, or partisan affiliation. Let's vote JDM and the NDC for good leadership and massive infrastructure development on December 7. Okay, thank you very much. You can keep your messages coming through. This one's from Mystic Wonder, and he says that no amount of lies, propaganda, sloganeering, monetization, vindictiveness, and inducement can save the Dr. Bawumia and the MPP the time around, because Ghanaians are wide awake and do not wash their faces upwards. I keep asking why Dr. Bawumia, the so-called economic guru, is running away from the economic issues, question mark. The tried and tested John Mahama is coming to rescue Ghanaians from the hands of this nepotistic nation wreckers. All right, Mystic, thank you for your message. Please do keep your messages coming through on the number that has been displayed on the screen, and do well not to place a call, because the number is strictly for messages and not calls. Now, speaking of special voting, let's just, like, in a few minutes. Yeah. Yes. So I'll take your view and your impression of the whole process, and also we look into our second topic, which you can extend your submission into, which is that the military high command banned soldiers from all polling stations on Saturday, and indicates that the military high command warns against impersonation, releases emergency numbers for reporting misconduct. Prof, do you want to take that first?
Well, I think it's a welcoming news, but it's a news that it's obvious that
That's the second one.
In an election, there's no need to have military presence in police station.
Yeah.
Elections are supposed to go on with the presence of police men or...
Prof, sorry to truncate, but looking at Auntie Rhoda just drew my attention. We would have to take the last topic, before the military one. Okay. So the last topic has to do with the special prosecutor launching a probe into the MP's food sharing, which is linked to the messages that I just read, so that it makes absolute sense. Okay. So that it makes sense, because we couldn't have just jumped. The second one is a whole different topic. So let's just link it. So okay. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. For me, the issue of special prosecutor launching.
But how did you find the process yesterday?
It was okay. Generally, it went well, except we some few places that there were some confusion, some form of impersonation. And sadly enough, Western and then Eastern region didn't vote.
They'll vote on Thursday.
Again, it just shows some form of lapses in the Electoral Commission, some form of incompetence, because the excuse for Western and Eastern not voting, it shouldn't have happened. But nevertheless, the elections went well. I was so surprised that we have a minister and a member of parliament trying to induce voters, trying to buy her vote using food and other material resources. It, for me, it just shows that this government has failed woefully. They can see their back, they can see themselves going to opposition, and so they think that they can use material resources, or they can use material things to lure voters or to convince voters to vote for them. I think we have come far as a country, and there's no way that the NPP, and for that matter this government, should think that they can deceive Ghanaians by using material things, to convince us to vote for them. It's so shameful as a minister to have been seen breaking the law with impunity. And I was so sad and so surprised that when she was questioned why she was doing that, she denied it. Little did she know that she was captured,
being
on
recorded,
video, sharing food. And as somebody was saying, we do not know the content of the thing she was giving out. And yesterday I saw a video of somebody who was displaying that she received cloth and 200 Ghana cedis, to go and vote in this special voting. And so it's also not far that, or it is not, it will not be surprising that what we are seeing as food pack, it's likely to be more than that. There could be other goodies apart from the food she is saying distributing. And so it should not just be business as usual, special prosecutor, saying that we are going to investigate into this. Sometimes when they say you are going to investigate into it, sometimes you ask yourself, what kind of investigation are they talking about? The thing is clear. Everybody have seen it. She was sharing food, and that was something that was against the electoral rule. And so, for me, I was expecting them saying that we are going to take her on, we are going to prosecute her as an example to others, or to deter others from doing same. And to tell us that we are going to investigate it is just the usual, issue that we are going to investigate it, and it dies a natural death. Just like Cecilia Dapa's case that came up, there was so much uproar, there was so much outcry about the level of corruption and stealing of our resources. But at the end of the day, special prosecutor said we are going to investigate it. Today, she's more or less a free person working. But we can promise Ghanaians that, look, every penny that has been taken out of our coffers will be coughed out. So this election is not about John Dramani Mahama. It is not about NDC, but it is about our future. It is about our survival. It is about accountability. If indeed we want accountability, that monies have been stolen and hidden, and today this money is being shared like granite to people to vote for them, then we as a people need to hold these people accountable. And we can only do this by voting for a change, by voting for NDC, because obviously the race is between NDC and NDP. And so if we want accountability, we have seen several instances of people sharing money. I mean, I wouldn't want to say certain things on set, but it's out there. Sharing money, sharing, gloves to individuals, to businesses, to pastors in churches, just to get vote. This is unacceptable. At a time when this government have put so much hardship on Ghanaians, they've increased taxes so much because they told us that they needed the money to do development. What did we see? Money have been hoarded. Money that is supposed to be used for development have been hoarded, and this is being shared now like granite. And I think that Ghanaians, it is time that we stand up and defend this country to the very core. We should defend this country by voting massively against this government. And look, until this is done, I can assure us that we will just sell ourselves into slavery. Why would a minister who thinks that she's worked so much to win the hearts of her constituents go about sharing things to win their sympathy? It just shows that she has failed. She has failed and failed miserably, and so also is the government. And I think that she should not be left off the hook. They should use her as a scapegoat to serve as deterrent for others, because for me it just shows that people have deliberately staffed us with the intention that during election they will then pour out money there and people will be running after them. And I think that Ghana as a country, we have come far. We should not let anyone deceive us by sharing goodies around this time. And also it just shows that the corruption that we have been talking about, it's real. It is not a propaganda. It is real, and we are seeing it. The question we should ask ourselves is, how much are ministers paid? What is the salary of an MP? The kind of campaign that they are doing today, is their salary able to sustain it? If these monies are not somehow gotten from other ill activities, where are they getting the money from? And I think that Ghana as a country, we should have law to also look at lifestyle audit. That if we know your income and you are living more than your income, you should be questioned where you are getting your sort of money from. Instead of we praising these individuals, making them church leaders, worshiping them, and running around them, as if they are kings and queens. We should rather question where is their source of wealth. When you go to constituency will tell you, I have received this, I have received that, I have seen people sharing this and that. Where are they getting the money from? And so what she has done for me is shameful, and the sad of it is even she not being honest by just lying to the camera, saying that she didn't know what they were talking about. She hasn't been there, and she contradicted herself by saying that she was not there. She's been there since morning. So which is which? You say you were not there, and at the same time you were there since morning. So again, as a special prosecutor, we have heard a lot of words of we will investigate, and it gets nowhere. Please, this time around, let's see it. And you know, sometimes a vengeance that is sweet is very sweet. We want to see something done immediately, not after a year or two, or people will just say, we'll talk about it, and we would let the wind carry it into that natural.
Well, from the way things are looking, it seems as though it's going to be business as usual. That we're just going to make noise. There's going to be an outcry, an uproar. You know,
sometimes you see that is where
poking the OSP to take action.
That is a problem of selective justice. You know, you remember how Agyekum 2020 election. She went, you know, firing warning shot and things.
Brandishing weapons.
At the end of the day, what happened? She went free. She's
still free.
By...
She's still a minister.
Exactly. And when her opponent had a gun in her boot that she wasn't even using, she was not even near it. Look at what they did to her. You see, I mean, the level of hypocrisy is just too much in this country. And it's not helping us. And that is why Ghanaians and people of conscience should stand up to say enough is enough. I think we've gone through an unprecedented hardship and destruction of our country. We've gone several years back. And this election is about a rescue mission. It's a communal labor. And I think we should all get involved. For us to rescue this country, we should all go out 7th December and vote massively. I mean, vote massively for the NDC and for His Excellency John Dramani.
Right, thank you very much, Prof. Antiro.
I was following quite a bit of them, the things that were happening yesterday. And the Ayawaso West Wogon one was the one that was actually prevailing. I was surprised that men in uniform would even accept the food. It just shows our level of professionalism within the services. And this must be something that the police administration must bow down their heads in shame. They should have stopped it from happening in the first place. But we saw personnel of other services around, and nobody thought that it was a bad thing to do, forgetting that that bag, which was supposed to contain food, could also contain votes, pre-stamped votes, without us knowing, because no one was opening it to check as to what was inside. And for me, that was a big security lapse. Then we hear of, I think, is it an immigration officer being arrested somewhere in Waliwali for taking a picture of his thumbprinted, his ballot paper. Now, that was swift. So what happened, and Lydia, Honorable Lydia Larson, she didn't get picked. She was not even asked to report anywhere to be questioned. And now she's denying everything. You know, if we are to go by the types of things that are happening now, the sharing of booties, the commissioning of projects, it's like we have been starved for 8 years and then the grains thrown at our feet that this time around, come and pick. And if you want, starve your chicks and then just get a bag full of grains and stand there. You see them all hoovering towards you because they are so hungry. You understand? That's exactly what this MPP government is doing to Ghanaians. Starve them, let them suffer, so that when we give them even 5 cedis, they'll vote for us. But I'm sorry to disappoint them. It might look like people are taking the money and you think that they will vote for you. That might not be the end story at all. Yesterday, 138,000 people are supposed to be in this special voting. And to think that some people are saying that their names were supposed to have been there, but it was omitted. And therefore, they couldn't get the opportunity to vote. This CEC has shown some gross incompetence this particular time, from the burning of ballot papers because of all sorts of irregularities and all that. It just shows that she's not prepared for this election. It is either she's not prepared or something went wrong in her planning, you know, towards a rigging agenda. That's the way I see it. I am thinking that we should ask for the police command to be very vigilant, to be very professional, and to hook up anybody who comes there. If you want to give food to voters, please do it after they have voted. You can give them water or whatever it is after they have voted. I will also suggest that maybe we make it a rule, put a basket or something out there. If you're going to go in there and vote, put your phone there. And when you come out, because it's just one person at a time. So if you put your phone, once you go and thumbprint, you come out, you lift your phone and you go. Then there'll be no need for anybody going in there with a phone to go and take a picture and go and collect money, so that they can use their money for themselves. After all, they've looted it. Why did you loot it for? You can't right now, because of money laundering laws, you are not able to take it out. So you're keeping them in the polytanks and God knows what. And you know, there have been instances where people have laid in their rooms and they are crying because they've got bags of money and they are dying. So this is not something that, you know, Ghanaians are afraid of. You can keep your money. And let us get the government that we need. I will say that at the end of it all, I will entreat Ghanaians to let us look at this duopoly. Let us sit down critically and ask ourselves if we want to put ourselves through this whole wahala and not just vote massively, all of us, for an independent presidential candidate. Maybe we should just vote for Mr. Alan Kyerematen and let everything end. You understand? Because you see, I can't sit here and say that probably the NDC will not do same, like give out goodies. Maybe this special voting, they might not. But we are all human, and it's happened before. You understand? Somebody also sent me a clip that NDC was also giving chicken, some layers and some bag of rice or something. I don't know when, maybe it was Christmas, but it has come that it was this time. Are you getting me? So it's all over the place. It is not a good thing. But we are expecting that security personnel that would be around the voting areas would be very vigilant and would do the right things. They should be professional. If you see someone even holding a piece of paper, please ask. You know, and please, honorables, you are called honorables for a very great reason. So you shouldn't let us start calling you by just your names. I wouldn't want to just say Miss Alasan. I would want to honor you and say you are Honorable Alasan. And it looks like some of the women are beginning to be the news. You know, you hear of Ayawaso Westwagon, you hear of Kaswara, but you have all sorts of, it's the women. What's wrong? If you lose an election, you can go home and still make it. It is not a do and die affair. So let us not be seen as being too desperate. Yes, your flag bearer is desperate to be president, but don't let it get to you. He has a reason for wanting to be president. So let's be ourselves, as women as we are. If you want to feed people, why not? But do it after they have gone and voted, but not because you want to buy their conscience. That, I think, is wrong. And as for the distribution of money and stuff, we are beginning to see where all our money went. You know, so like I said, stuff your money. All we need is a change. We need to change because Ghana has gone down the drain. Ghana is suffering. Ghanaians are crying out for change because this is not the Ghana that we know. This is not the Ghana that we want. And therefore, if you have money, you have stashed money in your account. For the first time, our whole Bank of Ghana is in debt. How does Bank of Ghana get into debt? You know, so we keep asking ourselves, how can a whole Bank of Ghana be in debt? 19 billion, 17 billion. Where from that? We've never heard that before. You understand? So it means that you have decided that you will take our money and come and give our money back to us, the gullible, to vote. And for my dear brothers and sisters in the rural areas who feel that this is the right time for me to take and I won't see the person again, please take the money if they give it to you, but don't vote for them. Because it means that for the next 4 years, you are not getting anything. Because a lot of them, as you talk to them, you engage, they will tell you that, oh, this is the only thing I will get, so let me take it. Yeah, take it. You know, but in the cities, shove their money. Let them take their money. Let's shame them with their money. Let them go with their shame, their heads bowed down in shame for keeping their money aside. Using it for themselves and their cronies, they have not created any jobs to help our youth. Unemployment is terrible. Our market women cannot even come out to trade anymore. And at this time, you have money to be able to brand a liter of or half a liter of oil and a 5 kilo bag of rice. Even I saw one where they were using the margarine tin. How hungry And how insulting can you be to us to use a measuring tin to be measuring rice for people? It just shows you the level
of queued.
Exactly. It shows the level of poverty you've put us in, the level of poverty you've put Ghanaians in, and we don't have to take that. So for me, I think that Lydia Larson didn't do well, and the law has to take its course. And anybody else who does anything contrary to what the law says must bear the consequences.
All right. Thank you very much, Auntie Rodeline. The messages keep coming. I believe that you are following the conversation keenly. So this one says that, hello, can a security officer who received food or money to vote supervise an election where bribery and corruption are openly done? Very interesting question. Now, Samson says, good day, Ohemaa. In fact, I am very shocked to the marrow of the kind of desperation the NPP is putting itself. The sharing of food items, money, clothes, sewing machines, name them. Very disgraceful and shameful. The flag bearer, too, is all over the place. Churches, shrines, etc. By the way, it's our stolen money coming back to us the legal way. Sami Adenta. All right, thank you, Sami. Okay, so this one says Ghana is heading to a dangerous ground. We are failing to know what is good and bad. This government is taking us back to the time of 1974 when JJ came to power. Corruption all over from Gabriel. Okay, thank you, Gabriel. Ken William, still typing. All right, so he is sending videos or excerpts of what happened in the various polling stations. But he says, good morning, Ohemaa. Vote buying is no longer a crime under Akufo-Addo MPP. Indeed, vote buying is now an open trade fair done boldly in the full glare of the public as they display vote buying goodies and bundles of CDs, notes and bundles of CD notes on their political campaigns as in the footage below. They have enough to buy votes but have no money to support flood victims and 20 kidney patients who died for lack of funds. See the footage below. I wish that our producers could get the footage and, you know, project it on our screens. But it says, okay, same message here. All right, so Sedatzi says that, good morning, Ohemaa. It's not food alone that is in the packaging. 200 Ghana cedis is included. Why MPP is so desperate for power? Change, Ghanaians need change. Seth Datsi. Okay, thank you, Seth. Good morning, Ohemaa. Honorable Lydia Al-Hassan should be punished and disqualified from the race because of what she did yesterday, for sharing gifts to induce the electorate to vote for her flag bearer and herself. It is against the PNDC law concerning the inducements during voting. Even voters in the queue were serious. Was serious offense. Okay, thank you very much. This text message also comes to says, good morning, Ohemaa. I think the NP should be dealt with for what she did. Okay, thank you. And please, when you send your messages, kindly add your name and your location so that we can know who you are. Okay, this one says, is it right for any member of parliament or a minister at a polling station to be sharing food to the civilians in a queue during the voting? If I may ask, I'm Marcelo from Ahafuano South constituency. All right, thank you. Keep your messages coming through as we're still delving deeper and deeper in our body politic and also happenings here in Ghana as we, you know, head towards the polls on December 7th. It's getting more interesting, but let's also talk about the military high command banning soldiers from all polling stations. Prof, what do you think?
Commander.
You salute?
I salute him, and then I mean, we saw what happened 2020 election, and we know the functions of military. They are supposed to protect us from external force. And so when you have military, you know, going to polling station to keep security or peace there, you wonder what's the function of the police. I think it's within this regime that we've seen policemen being deployed to polling station, and I'm so happy that we have the command or commander giving that directive. So I say kudos to him, and I am trusting that whatever he said, we will carry it through. That it will not just be for the camera, but he will stick to his words to make sure that the personnel are kept in the barracks and allow the police, the prison service, and other security outfit to take charge of our security during the election. Elections are about selecting our leaders. It should not be a do and die affair. And if a government is convinced of delivering on their promise or making sure that they have given their best to the people, I see no reason why we should send military to go and intimidate people. 2020, we saw a lot of military personnel, especially during the coalition time, and this resulted in a loss of lives. This time around, we do not want to have even one person dying, because one soul is important to us, and we wouldn't want to do that. And so I am trusting God and trusting whatever the commander said, that personnel should not visit any polling station to be the case, and not just for the camera. I want to use this opportunity again to say that this 2024 election, we are all in for peace. We've all signed the peace pact, but 2020 there was a signing of peace pact, and yet we saw 8 individuals losing their lives. It's as a result of some action and inaction of individuals who again were left off the hook. 4 years down the line, nobody has been picked up or questioned for their action. And this, some of us see it as a way of emboldening individuals to perpetrate some of these crime. But I can assure Ghanaians that crime has no expiring date. If we want accountability, that is why we need to go out there and vote with anger and pain. Vote against this government for bringing untold hardship on us, for letting 8 Ghanaians to have lost their life in 2020 elections. They should vote against this government so that we can hold them accountable for the crime people committed against fellow citizens, for the crime against Ghanaians in terms of individuals who have lost their investment. And I would want to plead again with the military that they visit the same markets that we all go. Their wives go to the same market. Whatever hardship that the ordinary Ghanaian is going through, I'm sure if they are not going through, but at least their family members may be going through it one way or the other. And so they should not be allowed by any government institution to force them to the polling station to intimidate voters. This election is about us. It is a rescue mission, and it is a communal labor. And I will once again add my voice to the commander that we are pleading with the military. Their mandate is to protect the country against external forces. And so that should be the case. Election is about selection of leaders that we want them to lead us in the next government. It is not about law. And so the polling station is not a battleground to have military personnel there. And so I joined and I salute the commander for this release and plead that every military personnel should comply to that directive.
Absolutely. I heard something funny yesterday regarding the military being present at polling stations and being involved in our electoral processes. And the person made a funny statement saying that military is civilian activity for our home. So they should just stay at their post, and just as you said, they're there to protect us and defend us from external force. And so and also the issue of impersonation. Because recently you hear that and the military attacked this person, people in military attacking. I don't think that people who are legitimately within the military force will just, abruptly go around attacking people. For what reason?
Yeah, so that is why it's important that, well, it's good that these days we have their names, on their shirts, so that you know who the individual is. And it's important that we all look out for impersonators, people like some tax that will be giving some military, uniform to not just military but also police uniform. Because I also West Wagon, we saw individuals who were not security personnel wearing security personnel, uniform.
Yeah.
And so we need to watch out to some of these things that will have tax giving these uniforms to just go and intimidate the voters.
Yeah.
I think we need to resist this with every strength within us, because the country is for all of us. It's not for just some individual, and we need to protect the peace that we have enjoyed over the years. We should not take our peace for granted, because we have seen what has happened in another country, the neighboring country. If there's war in Ghana, I think we have no place, because all our neighbors have one issue or another. And so we need to protect this peace with everything within us. And that's why I say it is a communal labor. Everybody should be concerned and everybody should be worried about the peace of this country, and we should protect it as such.
Right, thank you, Prof. Anti-Imperialist.
Military High Command.
But shouldn't we also commend the military high command for, putting out numbers for reporting misconduct, emergency numbers?
Oh yeah, I've always been proud of the Ghana Armed Forces for professionalism, and if you're talking of peacekeeping worldwide, we are held up there. So of late, when I read about things happening regarding, the behaviors of certain personnel, I get very, very unhappy. I get sad. Kudos to the High Command for being able to come out with this, which is a good thing, because after all, we all agree that military has nothing to do really with politics or with elections. But they are not going to be entirely out. There will be about 1,000 soldiers stationed around hotspots, they say. And I wish that they could come out with a list of the hotspots so that we'll all be aware of those places. But having said that, I would also want to say that we expect that the military will keep to their word, and that those that are already in certain areas, especially border towns and stuff, will behave professionally. It doesn't matter which government recruited you or commissioned you. Your service is to Ghana. not to a political party, not to an individual, and certainly not to any particular president or any particular commander. Your service is to Ghana. So I am expecting that they will all be professional, from the lance corporal or the private soldier to whoever. Once they put them in places, they must let them understand that even though we do know that some soldiers regard themselves first as political soldiers before Ghana Armed Forces soldiers, we would want to let them know that there is no one who will kick you out of your position within the military if you live within the rules of the game. And discipline is key. And discipline means that during this election, stay in your barracks, vote where you're supposed to vote, and don't come out of your barracks to go and roam around town
in your uniform.
In your uniform to harass people at the blind side of command. Don't do that, because this is an election that is a very tensed up election, and one wrong move and it will be chaos everywhere. So we do not want anyone. Let it not be that it's an army person that started the whole thing. So stay within your barracks. Same goes for the police, same goes for the immigration. If you don't have any election duties, please vote and stay within your barracks. That is all that we are asking. And we want both the military and the police to be professional, have your name tags, your unit, whatever, so that we can identify you. Don't come hooded. Don't come in nose mask. Let us see your faces, because you are Ghanaian before you become a Ghana police officer or a Ghana military person. So come there so we can see your faces, so that when you're doing things, you will know that we are looking at you. People are looking at you. So come in your setup, casual or whatever you're supposed to be. If you are in there as an investigator or whatever, please don't come and beat anybody. The word beat, let me repeat it, don't come and beat anybody, because nobody has given you that right to beat anybody. You can arrest a person, hold the person nicely, and take the person to the police station. That is what is expected of you professionally. I would also want to say that the EC has to also provide, to stop anything from happening. All the logistics must be there. You know, EC must make sure that it provides all the logistics, and the police must make sure that the laws also work on that day, and then I'm sure we'll have a very smooth election. Having said that, I'd like to make a special plea. EC, if you are listening to me, Boku Central, we are voting. The whole of Kusak, we are voting. So if there is anything on the table to show that there will be shooting, even Ghana army, they go to Lebanon. Recently, with Israelis bombing everywhere, they were still there. Send the army to go and keep the peace, and we will vote. We want to vote on the 7th of December. Don't disenfranchise us, because we are not the only trouble causers. Exactly, we are not the only, we are getting hints that things are being done to stop us from voting. We will vote, and we want you to know that we will vote. So please make it possible for us to vote. Yesterday, our special forces were able to vote, which means that when it comes to the general elections on Saturday, we will want to vote, and therefore make it sure that we will get the opportunity to cast our votes. After we have voted, my brothers and sisters in Kusak, go back to your homes and stay there, and let's wait for the results. Nothing more. Nothing less. So kudos to the army. We hold them in high esteem. We expect them to be professional. We pray that Mother Ghana comes out of this, as Mother Ghana always does, in one piece. And that's the end of it. We'll all go home. We'll rejoice. This Christmas will be nice for everybody.
Right. Thank you very much. An interesting Christmas, eh? I think the winning party will enjoy it more.
Oh, win or lose. Win or lose, we all enjoy.
Well, we will enjoy, but the winning party will enjoy it more.
Well, the winning party will enjoy it for a few seconds, because what is ahead is no joke.
I know.
Just for a few seconds. What is ahead of us, eh? It's not a joke.
I know. All right, thank you very much to my panelists. Thank you for also sending in your messages. Let me read a few more, and then we take, the final words from my panelists, and we're out. Now, voting for President Akufo-Addo is rather sinking Ghana backwards. His regime has been the worst of all, and all his cronies are emulating such impunity. The only president who welcomed wrongdoing. All right. Enchibwe Siako, he says vote for the NDC. Okay, thank you. This one says, good morning, Ohemaa. I'm Anthony from Accra. Akufo-Addo, the mother serpent of all corruption, is bent to do everything in order to remain in power, even if killing everyone in the country for him alone to live, and becomes president. He is okay with that, but God will liberate us from his evil plans. Okay, thank you. This one also says, good morning, Ohemaa. My name is Anto Zacchaeus from Salaga, Savannah region. I think this woman needs to be dealt with. It's time for us to vote against the NPP government. Okay, this one says, do we really want peace? NPP is staging for war. Ben Awoshi. Okay, these are some text messages. Let me just go on WhatsApp and see what's up there. All right, so Danso says, good morning to you and your panelists. Madame Jean Mensah should know that she and her staff are holding the keys of peace in this country now. If she and her staff rig the 2024 presidential election and destroy the peace that we are enjoying, she and her staff will answer for it. From Amos in Asin. Okay. Randolph says that, good morning, Madam Presenter. Randolph from Freetown, Sierra Leone. I had a dream last night where I saw Saka jubilating in your station, asking the others to join. Saka is the NPP communicator. So I don't know what this implies. So it implies that will win. I see. Interesting. Thank you, Randolph, for that. Ken Williams says that, Ohemaa, good morning. Please let me get my share of the booty to sponsor my travel abroad. I have a university teaching job abroad, but no money to move. I had a similar opportunity last year, but failed to go for the same reason. Please tell your ladies to come to my aid. Ladies. My ladies. That one? Okay. Wow, interesting. Auntie Rose says, how much is involved?
I didn't say, I said how much is involved. You are saying ladies should come. So how much is involved?
How much is involved? Right, the question has been pointed back to you. Now, it says, ask and it will be given, says the Bible. Nothing is too little to help. I will provide my appointment letters as evidence. Thanks in advance. Okay. Okay. I have my powerful women here. They've heard you. Don't worry, Ken. You'll be sorted, eh? All right. Asanko says that talking about signing of a peace pact, I think we have been using a wrong approach over the years to solving a very serious problem. It is like forcing victims of armed robbery together with the robbers to sign a bond to be of good behavior instead of punishing the robbers and making them sign a bond to be of good behavior. Why should the innocent victims of the robbery be asked to sign a bond to be of good behavior? Are we not jokers? Asanko, Santa Maria. Okay, this one says, good morning. Please, we listened to your station to gain knowledge from you and your panelists, but very unfortunately, we didn't gain properly on any day this MPP man on any day this MPP man appears on the program. He cannot just say anything sensible apart from dirty politics. Interesting. All right, just a few more. Good morning, Ohemaa, to you and your panelists. I am shocked that security officers would continue to sell their integrity so cheap by accepting food and allegedly 200 Ghana cedis to vote against their conscience. Will that food and money keep them for the next 4 years? If this happens in the Western world, would Lydia Al-Hassan not be seriously dealt with as provided by PNDC Law 284? Ghana, my beloved country, is no more Ghana of Kwame Nkrumah, J.J. Rawlings, John Kufuor, Mills, and John Mahama. Truly, we need to reset Ghana through our thumb and conscience on December 7, 2024. May God speak to the good people of Ghana for the right person to be elected to end this open looting and continuous suffering of innocent Ghanaians. Simon from Bato. All right, thank you. I'll read the rest of the messages before we sign out, but this will be the last lot for my panelists to, say something to Ghanaians. Antiro.
As we go to the polls on that Saturday 7th, I will entreat all Ghanaians to reflect on the past few years and ask themselves if their lives have been bettered, and if not, who they think could better their lives. It doesn't matter the numbers that you see coming up the streets. The thumb is yours wherever you are. For us to be able to move on as a country, to get the development that we need, to get that kind of feeling of being Ghanaian once again. For some of us who have been around for a while, being told that you are a Ghanaian, or even telling someone that you're a Ghanaian, came with such respect and such honor. But these days, you even falter to want to state that you're a Ghanaian because of the way we have become. We don't love each other anymore. The divisiveness in our country has gone up to such an extent that in today's politics, we are doing ethnic politics and we are doing religious politics. For me, that is really one route to disaster. So on behalf of the Alliance for Revolutionary Change and the Movement for Change and Mr. Alan Kojo Kyerematen, I would want to ask Ghanaians that on Saturday, you should give Mr. Alan Kyerematen your vote, so that together we will build an inclusive Ghana, a government of national unity, where everyone will have a share and a stake, where everyone can be free to voice out how they feel, where everyone will feel counted, where everyone will at least have a bit of food to eat every day. As we always say, Alan Ba, Opia Bedidi, Asieho, number 13. So just vote for the Movement for Change. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Prof.
Fellow citizens, in the few coming days, we are going to the poll to elect our leaders. We have 13 candidates, but we have a candidate that has been tried and tested, the umbrella, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. This election is about us. It is about our future. It is about the future of our children. It's about Ghana. We need to rescue this country. Remember the several scandals over the past 8 years. The PDS. Remember the collapse of banks. Remember the investments that people lost through the domestic exchange program. Remember the hardship. You need to vote and vote for a change, a positive change. A vote for the NDC is a vote for accountability. A vote for NDC is a vote for jobs, for progress, for prosperity. Remember the 24-hour economy, the youth out there. One job, 3 people, 3 sessions. Let's vote massively for His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the umbrella and the NDC. And let's reset Ghana on the right path to prosperity, to changing our lives, to a time that the money in our pockets can indeed meet our needs. Because as we speak today, every worker has his or her salary devalued by more than 50%. And so we need to reset the country by voting for the umbrella. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, I plead with every Ghanaian, do not say you are tired of voting. This election is a communal labor. Go out there and vote for the umbrella. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and the NDC. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. You're still watching Good Morning Africa here on Pan-African Television. My panelists have made their remarks, but the messages also keep flooding, you know, and I'd like us to go through them, and if there are like some topics, interesting ones, we'll touch on them before we sign out. Now, this one says, good morning, Ohemaa and your guests. We are suffering due to the current government's bad governance. Every worker, including security personnel, is feeling the pinch. It's ironic that security personnel were seen campaigning for Baumia. Yet, they are also victims of the government's poor policies. The situation is dire, and it's time for change. Let's use our votes to bring about positive change and improve the lives of all Ghanaians. Vote wisely, vote JDM and NDC. Aigbe Tamale. Okay. Good morning, Ohemaa. I'm Kofi. Thank you for the good work, but please, as a moderator, as a moderator, you are not supposed to read every message that is sent to your channel. Please be circumspect on what message to get to the public. I'm sorry, sir, but you don't teach us how to run things here. We read because everybody deserves to be heard. Thank you. All right. So this one also says that this... good morning. In fact, the military has a duty to perform during and after the election, like conducting patrol and standing by to be called if necessary. And at the same time, the NDC and other parties must be very careful and provide security to the boxes themselves. Otherwise, it can be of advantage to the NPP before the arrival of the military, if there will be a need for them to be called. These people cannot be trusted. They can capitalize on the absence of the military around. So this person is suggesting that the military should at least be on standby.
They are on standby.
Like, I mean, within the terrain.
No, they are on standby to the extent that if the police is not able to contain anything, they will swiftly be there. So they are not far away.
Okay. Thank you. Good morning, Ohemaa. I'm Apostle Amu from Dansuman. Good work. Thank you very much. We appreciate you. Please say hello to Mama Rose, the lady talking for Alan. She spoke well. I wish she is the one to vote for president. Yeah, very soon, very soon. Very, very soon. Presidential candidate, I will be more delighted to vote for her. From Ken. Thank you. This one says that Comrade Kevin Taylor writes, Inspector Matilda Edu Jemfi of the Nima Police Station, you are an absolute disgrace to yourself, your family, and the police service. Oh.
What did she do?
Oh, what did she do? I think most of the things that he has sent are a bit derogatory, but okay, please tell us what she did, and let's see how we can put that forward. Now, this one says that sharing food and money a day will not solve our problem, and forget the people using political lens to measure. Leaders with myopic minds, self-seeking, and people who do not think about the generation yet unborn are wicked. Any right-thinking Ghanaian will not vote for the NPP. From Hello Richard in Akachi. The media, most of the time, speak to the people who steal our money and future and avoid the mass and suffering. Okay, thank you. So let's do a few on our text messages and a few text messages. Please, my dear, you are beautiful. Thank you very much. This one says that I am much convinced beyond reasonable doubt that the NPP government is using the country as its self-aggrandizement, in which he can get much money for his friends and family, and is pregnant for all Ghanaian sanctity. Okay, Bukum. Thank you. It's a shame to see men and women in uniform not resisting such food. Oh, Ghana, the MP should be invited. Enchibo Esiako. This coming from Enchibo Esiako.
You just can't understand that security services that are supposed to be so disciplined. In the first instance, you are taking food from somebody that is not a regular person to give you food.
You don't know.
So you don't know what is inside. So why? I mean, it's just. I don't know. I think that the IGP still has a lot of work to do, and all the other security agencies, they still have a lot of work to do, because this kind of behavior is just untoward. It's not good. It's not.
Yeah.
It doesn't help us at all. It doesn't.
Right, this one says, good morning. NPP government is the best ever in the history of this country. Voters will definitely exercise their franchise, and indeed, we know what is good and bad. Forward ever, backwards never, again to Mahama. Japheth.
Forward ever, backwards ever.
Backwards never.
That one from who? From the one who said, this is NDC or NPP?
This one is, I think it's an NPP person.
And is thinking that they will vote for who?
For Baumia.
No, because I'm hearing forward ever, backwards never. That's a CPP thing.
He says forward ever, backwards never, again to Mahama.
Oh, really? Stop using our CPP stuff.
All right, this one says that, hi Ohemaa, I'm Peter from Takwa. Please, I need your personal number. Okay.
This is a CPP man. Turned NPP.
Okay. Good morning, Roslyn. And Auntie Rodlin. It's Rodlin. Jean Mensa is, please, this number is not for calls, so the calls are interrupting the reading of the messages. Says that Jean Mensa is not competent. She announced yesterday on TV that bag of defaced ballot papers got missing. How can full bags of defaced ballot papers go missing in the full glare of security men? Second, is it not Jean Mensa who declared results 5 times, which had not happened anywhere in the world before? Jean Mensa doesn't know the work. She must resign. In fact, people are not speaking good of her at all. From Tola Tamale. All right, this one says,
Tola, we'll help her to finish with this.
Good morning, Ohemaa. NDC go win this election. Comfort from Keta. Thank you very much, Comfort. And so these are the messages that we're getting, but we'll have to wrap up here on the show, yes, because Prof wants to.
She's got to go today.
Yeah, she's got to go. Right, and it's been interesting with you. Thank you so much for always choosing us to bring you insightful conversations, in-depth analysis on happenings here in Ghana, across the African continent, and around the world. My name is Ohemaa Agyekum, and this has been the Newspaper Review segment. See you tomorrow.